Indus Valley Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization was a Bronze Age civilization from 3300 to 1300 BCE. Mature period 2600 to 1900 BCE, extending from what today is northeast Afghanistan to Pakistan and northwest India. Along with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, it was one of three early civilizations of the Old World, and of the three, the most widespread, it flourished in the basins of the Indus River, one of the major rivers of Asia, and the Ghaggar Hakra River, which once coursed through northwest India and eastern Pakistan. At its peaks, the Indus Valley civilizations may have had a population of over 5 million. Inhabitants of the ancient Indus River Valley developed new techniques in handicrafts like carnelian products, seal carving, and metallurgy like copper, bronze, lead, and tin. The Indus cities are noted for their urban planning, baked brick houses, elaborate drainage systems, water supply systems, and clusters of large non residential buildings. The Indus Valley civilization is also known as the Harappan civilization. Chronology. The mature phase of the Harappan civilization lasted from 2600 to 1900 BCE, with the inclusion of the predecessor and successor cultures, early Harappan and later Harappan respectively. The entire Indus Valley civilization may be taken to have lasted from the 33rd to the 14th centuries BCE. Two terms are employed for the periodization of the IVC: phases and eras. The early Harappan, mature Harappan, and late Harappan phases are also called the regionalization, integration, and localization eras, respectively. With the regionalization era reaching back to the Neolithic Meghra II period, discoveries at Meghra changed the entire concept of the Indus civilization. According to Ahmad Hassan Dani, professor emeritus at Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, there we have the whole sequence right from the beginning of settled village life. Emergence of civilization. The early Harappa Ravi phase, named after the nearby Ravi river, lasted from circa 3300 BCE until 2800 BCE. It is related to the Hakra phase, identified in the Ghaggar Hakra river valley to the west, and predates the Kot Diji phase. From 2800 to 2600 BCE, Harappa II, named after a site in northern Sindh, Pakistan, near Mohenjo-daro. The earliest examples of the Indus script date from around 3000 BCE. The mature phase of earlier village cultures is represented by Rahman Dheri and Amri in Pakistan, Kot Diji. Harappa represents the phase leading up to mature Harappan, with the citadel representing centralized authority and an increasingly urban quality of life. Another town of this stage was found at Kalibangan in India on the Hakra river. Trade networks linked this culture with related regional cultures and distant sources of raw materials, including lapis lazuli and other materials for bead making. Villagers had by this time domesticated numerous crops, including peas, sesame seeds, dates, and cotton, as well as animals, including the water buffalo. Early Harappan communities turned to large urban centers by 2600 BCE, from where the mature Harappan phase started. By 2600 BCE, the early Harappan communities had been turned into large urban centers. Such urban centers include Harappa, Ganeriwala, Mohenjo-daro in modern-day Pakistan, and Dholavira, Kalibangan, Rakhigari, Rupar, and Lothal in modern-day India. In total, more than 1052 cities and settlements have been found, mainly in the general region of the Indus rivers and their tributaries. Cities. A sophisticated and technologically advanced urban culture is evident in the Indus Valley civilization. The quality of municipal town planning suggests knowledge of urban planning, and efficient municipal governments, which placed a high priority on hygiene. The streets of major cities such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were laid out in a perfect grid pattern comparable to that of present-day New York. The houses were protected from noise, odors, and thieves, as seen in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and the recently discovered Rakhighari. This urban plan included the world's first urban sanitation systems. Within the city, individual homes or groups of homes obtained water from wells from a room that appears to have been set aside for bathing. Wastewater was directed to covered drains, which lined the major streets. Houses opened only to inner courtyards and smaller lanes. The ancient Indus systems of sewage and drainage that were developed and used in cities throughout the Indus Empire were far more advanced. Harappa. The ruins of Harappa were first described in 1842 by Charles Masson in his narrative of various journeys in Balochistan, Afghanistan, and the Punjab, where locals talked of an ancient city extending 13 courses, about 25 miles, but no archaeological interest would attach to this for nearly a century. In 1872 to 75, Alexander Cunningham published the first Harappan seal with an erroneous identification as Brahmi letters. It was half a century later, in 1912, that more Harappan seals were discovered by J. Fleet, prompting an excavation campaign under Sir John Herbert. Seals were discovered, resulting in the discovery of the civilization at Harappa by Sir John Marshall, Rai Bahadur, Dayaram Sahani, and Madho Sarup Watts, and at Mohenjo-daro by Rakhal Das Banerjee, E.G.H. Mackay, and Sir John Marshall. Science and technology. The people of the Indus civilization achieved great accuracy in measuring length, mass, and time. They were among the first to develop a system of uniform weights and measures. A comparison of available objects indicates large-scale variation across the Indus territories. Their smallest division, which is marked on a ivory scale found in Lothal, was approximately 1.704 millimeters, the smallest division ever recorded on a scale of the Bronze Age. Harappan engineers followed the decimal division of measurement for all practical purposes, including the measurement of mass as revealed by their hexahedron weights. These chart weights were in a ratio of 5:2:1, with weights of 0.05, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and 500 units, with each unit weighing approximately 28 grams, similar to the English imperial ounce or Greek uncia, and smaller objects were weighted in smaller ratios with the units of 0.871. However, as in other cultures, actual weights were not uniform throughout the units of area. The weights and measures later used in Kautilya's Ardhashastra, that is 4th century BCE, are the same as those used in Lothal. Harappans evolved some new techniques in metallurgy and produced copper, bronze, lead, and tin. The engineering skill of Harappans was remarkable, especially in building docks. Trade and transportation. The Indus civilization's economy appears to have depended significantly on trade, which was facilitated by major advances in transport technology. The Indus Valley civilization may have been the first civilization to use wheeled transport. These advances may have included bullock carts that are identical to those seen throughout South Asia today, as well as boats. Most of these boats were probably small, flat-bottomed, craft perhaps, driven by sail similar to those one can see on the Indus River today. However, there is secondary evidence of seagoing craft. Archaeologists have discovered a massive dredged canal and what they regard as a docking facility at the coastal city of Lothal in western India, that is from Gujarat state. An extensive canal network used for irrigation has, however, also been discovered by H.P. Franz